Coming up with a story for a novel can be absolutely crazy. One moment you're just sitting around listening to music, and another you suddenly realize what the next 6 months of your life are gonna look like. And yeah, that is exactly what happened to me. Dogs. Why do they always do this? So I recently finished writing my time loop novel, and the main idea for that story actually came back in the summer of 2022 when I was writing a completely different novel. Basically, I was sitting right here in this weirdly uncomfortable seat, my legs up, my dirty feet nearly touching the TV, while music was playing in the background and my fingers were going ham against my laptop keys. And that's when I learned that Billie Eilish had just released 2 new songs, TV and the 30th. Great songs, absolutely fantastic songs. But one of them was a little more special than the other to me, wasn't it? Just pure eye contact. Like, one of the two made me contemplate life for a solid 30 minutes. That is my knee. I'm comfortable here. My dogs are just not sure what to do with their lives. So I'm a big fan of consuming media. As you might know, I am addicted to watching movies, TV shows, mostly YouTube. Lots of YouTube. But of course, I also listen to a lot of music whenever I'm not doing any of the other things that I just mentioned. But what you should probably also know is that I can be pretty emotional when consuming all that media. I don't know why, I just got a lot of empathy floating around in this brain apparently. The last movie that made me cry was Turtles All the Way Down, which absolutely demolished me. The last show that made me cry is Criminal Minds, on an episode I've already seen before. And yeah, I really like consuming media. Like, I even cried reading a non-fiction book by John Green called The Anthropocene Reviewed. On the very first chapter, I cried. Properly cried. So yeah, all that is basically to say that while I don't necessarily cry easy, when a story is good and when the emotion is right, when the emotion is told right, you can break me. I'm not afraid to feel the emotions that shows, movies, YouTube videos, even books and video games are afraid to make me feel. And I think that's exactly why I love consuming media so much. But all this is a ridiculously long way to tell you that song, The 30th by Billie Eilish, it got to me. It really did. Not the first time maybe, no, because I was just listening to it and thinking, oh, this actually sounds really cool. I like that ending. That ending is very intense. And then I listened to it again, and I actually started listening to the words. That ending, oh man. Still get goosebumps just thinking about it. I can highly recommend listening to it, but the moment she basically yells, "You're alive, you're alive, you're alive," it's unbelievable how that makes me feel for some reason. It's really strong. But it didn't just break me, it also inspired me. In 2022, I watched the movie The Map of Tiny Perfect Things 3 times. It quickly became one of my all-time favorites, and that being constantly somewhere in the back of my mind, the concept of a time loop story was always trying to find its way to something I could write myself. And then suddenly that song released. Somehow, it made me realize what I wanted that story to be. Somehow, I knew it right then and there. And somehow it was also that exact moment that I temporarily dropped writing Not My Dream Diary just because I had an idea for a side project. Sounds familiar? It probably sounds familiar. but of course I won't tell you that because that would make me look very, very bad. So yeah, I've explained the kind of the story of the next novel a little bit here and there about this guy, this kid, 17-year-old boy, who finds a girl on the bridge and that she's about to jump, and he tries to help her but he can't, so she jumps, and then the day starts replaying. That just honestly came from the song. Recently I was going through the book again and I was trying to properly finish it. That was before the last video I made where I said that I actually finished it. But I was reading through it, I was changing some sentence structures, changing flow, making sure that there were no typos. As I was going through the last couple of chapters, I decided to put on that song, The 30th. And the intense part of the song had just started, and I just felt myself read through it so quickly because My heartbeat was going faster, the emotion was really there, and the moment the song stopped, I just felt myself shaking, kinda. If I hadn't written the story, if I hadn't known what would have happened, I may have cried, who knows? I don't know if any of this makes any sense, but I just want to say that I like how the feeling that the song gave me originally, and still does in a way, is the same feeling I get from reading the story that was inspired by it, especially some of those final few chapters. So yeah, I guess what's to take away from this is that you never know when inspiration hits. It just kind of happens. And don't worry about the other project, because like I said, that's called Not My Dream Diary, and I did finish that novel. I released it last year, so you can find a link in the description below if you're interested. This story, however, will remain nameless for a little longer, but not too long. I'm thinking of announcing the title soon, and maybe I'll start thinking about designing a cover. Maybe. Alright, subscribe. See you next time.